Hello and welcome to Cup of Joe. Today we have our first Out of Room podcast. We are down in the art room of Wilmington High School. Would you please introduce yourself? Our guest.
Warren Miller, aka Miller.
What do you teach here at Wilmington High School?
Art-ish.
All right. What do you sponsor?
Art club.
Wonderful. Why did you want to become a sponsor for Art Club?
To expand the learning possibilities beyond that of my classroom.
Can you describe what a typical meeting or practice looks like for Art Club?
Typically it's giving back to the community, whether it be our school community or the outside community in some sort of way. Currently, the musical.
What are your core values as a sponsor?
Be awesome, be kind, be respectful.
How do you view the relationship between academics and extracurriculars?
Repeat the question, please.
How do you view the relationship between academics and extracurriculars? Between school and clubs?
I don't know, there's a lot of pressure right now.
You just want to move on to the next question?
Yeah, if we return, I'd like to think about that one just as 10.
How do you develop a community of students around your art club?
Normally it just kind of self-develops within the room, form relationships with students, and then if they're knowledgeable about the club and also aren't involved in sports, then normally they hop on it.
How do you put the word out for art club and get students into it? For freshmen
In the room.
in the room?
Yeah, in my classroom. It just normally spreads by word of mouth.
How do you normally manage the art club during meetings?
Authoritatively with an iron fist. This one.
Do you have any kind of off-season where the club isn't very active?
No. If we're not doing things for the school, then normally we'll take on like mural work or something outside of school. So we're typically always busy. The summers, I would say. We'll say the summers.
All right.
Hey, can you edit that just to summers, please? Thank you.
No, we're just going to leave that
Okay.
alone. Do you have a answer for the relationship between the school and clubs?
Well, they're housed in the same building.
Yeah.
School and clubs, it involves the same people. I think you learn pretty much the same things that you do from the classroom to the club. As far as the subject goes, I suppose, the various things that you might learn are different from the class to the club, but I mean, they're intertwined and related being art, so,
Yeah.
right?
All right.
I think the art club maybe expands upon the classroom in that we are reaching out to more towards like community work as opposed to individual work. Yeah.
How do you normally handle criticism?
Terribly. Don't do it. Could somebody turn on the lights, please? Thanks. Yeah. Criticism? Fine. I mean, as long as it's constructive and not just being rude. I mean, that's the same way that I critique my students is we want to improve each other, not just tear down folks. So as long as it's being respectful and in a way that's going to make the piece itself better, totally open to it. That's what we're shooting for as human beings, is to become better at what we do and better people. So criticism is part of that, I think.
Do you ever have any complaints from parents?
Not that I'm aware of.
Just talking about you behind your back.
Yes, they could very well be doing that. I don't know. But no, so far so good.
All right. Well, that wraps up all the questions that I have in this paper. Would you like to
Excellent
be-
job.
Thank you. Would you like to be asked about just general questions about as being a teacher, or?
Sure,
All right.
whatever you want.
What made you want to become a teacher?
I would say there's probably maybe 3 things. So one was time. I like the job allows me to be off in the summers. When my son was young, that was very important to me.
You send Pete Rampa to the main office?
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. When he was young, it allowed me to be with him a lot, and I appreciated that aspect of it. Another one is it's art, and I've grown up doing art. I love art, and I love sharing that with people, and teaching allowed me to do so. So I guess becoming a teacher, like, it was fate.
How do you normally structure your classroom? Like I know it should be very different from like math or science where it's a that schedule.
I try to teach my students to be independent as much as they can because there's so much going on in the classroom. Students are always on different levels, different aspects of the projects, and I can't be 24 places at once. So trying to teach them independence is a big part of it. I guess making them recognize that this is a studio not only that they use, but also like another 80 students use, and just kind of having that in the back of their heads, being respectful. It's not like their room or their house. Like, yeah.
Well, since this is the art room, is there any art projects that you're particularly proud of your students making that you would like to show off?
I mean, I'm proud of a lot of my students' work, as long as they put work into it. Like you can tell when students, even with talent, if they 50% it, just call it in, it doesn't turn out the greatest in the world. You can see it in the work. And then there's students that bust it. Those are the students, and those are the pieces that I really appreciate, because you can tell, like, they work, and I appreciate work. Particular projects, no, I think my freshman or one class, like, one of the projects I really like is the half-face portrait, because it's realistic, and that's what they tie into is like being good art. At this point is realism, because they don't know a lot about art, so they're just stepping into it.
Yeah.
After that, my art 3-4 students like get into more independent stuff, and they can go like kind of more abstractly. They start to realize and understand things a little bit more, the materials and how they work, and they're more exploratory than my beginning students. I like a lot of their pieces and see what they come up with and the concepts, that stuff. So, just surprising.
Are there any funny stories that you would like to share?
Not in particular. Every day is pretty funny. I don't know. I think the room's pretty happy all in all.
Cool.
For most of it, yeah. And there's funny crap happening in this room constantly.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. And remember, Iron Fist.